Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I actually wasn't going to film a video over here today. You know, I have filmed so many videos this week already. I filmed I think 20 videos or something this week. I've just been powering through making videos on so many of my channels. And today already I have filmed a lengthy video for my Peter Monn channel, and then I did a video on my Peter Does Stuff channel, a video for my review channel. Those videos are both rendering right now on the computer, and then I'm going to vlog here in just a little bit. And so I thought, well, maybe I will just take the day off and not make a video for my Peterisms channel. But I was sitting here waiting for these videos to get done, and I thought, well, why not? So I pulled up one of the comments that I want to address. I have it sitting here right in front of my computer, like this big. But there was something else that I was thinking about as well, because I haven't been reading the meditations as much on this channel. And, you know, in the past, I was reading the Linda Picone book of Positive Daily Affirmations, or whatever the book is called. And then I was reading the Melody Beatty books and things like that, you know. And I know that there are many of you out there that have also purchased the books. Some of you from my Amazon store, thank you. I really appreciate it. Others of you that have found it at Goodwill, or, you know, Books A Million, or Half Price Books, or Barnes & Noble, or wherever. And so I just want to say, you know, I think it's great that you're following along with the meditations and stuff like that. You can find those daily affirmations or meditation books at so many different places for on sale for cheap rates. I go to Half Price Books, and there's a lot of them there, right? That are recovery based or self-help based or whatever, you know? But the other thing I wanted to tell you is, you know, if you don't have money to spend on books or things like that, the other thing that you can do, I mean, it's kind of hard to get a meditation or a daily affirmation book from the library because, I mean, you have to return it in 2 weeks, right? So, I mean, you could go through them in 2 weeks, or unless you want to make copies of everything, but that's expensive too. So I wanted to tell you that you can actually, and I just did this online, you can actually Google online, and I put daily affirmations for today. You can also just put in daily affirmations or daily meditations, and it will pull up all different kinds. It'll pull up ones for men, some for women, people in recovery. You can put in anything that you want. Religious ones, spiritual ones, whatever you're looking for. I put in daily affirmations first, and it just came up with, it just flooded, right? With all these websites. Some of them were per the date. Some of them were just, you just go to the website and it has all these daily affirmations. But when I put in daily affirmations for today, the first one that it came up with was Louise Hay, okay? So Louise Hay wrote a fantastic book back in the day called You Can Heal Your Life, and it's one of my favorite books of life. It came out many, many years ago. And so she has this website, and on it every single day, she has a daily affirmation. Now, they're very, very short, okay? For example, the daily affirmation from Louise Hay for July 21st of 2023, which is today, is, I accept my power. Which, I love that meditation, right? To empower ourselves and strengthen ourselves and stand up for ourselves. And, you know, no matter what we're going through, you know, feeling the right to empower ourselves, I think, is important, you know? But when you go through here, she's got all these other meditations as well, written below from other days. I am beautiful and everybody loves me. And even if you don't believe these things, to say them, you know, and to look in the mirror and say them over a period of time, you will start to believe them. I experience love wherever I go. Loving people fill my life, and I find myself already expressing love to others. We are all family, and the planet is our home. I feel glorious dynamic energy. I am active and alive. I am patient, tolerant, and diplomatic. I mean, that's probably a meditation that I could probably read over and over and over again until I believe it and start acting on it, you know? Let's see. All that I seek is already within me. I love that one. So there's tons of them on here, and it's very colorful. It's beautiful. She's got pictures behind it and all this kind of stuff. Oh, she's got tons of them on here. So you can go back. It's also got her books listed and all kinds of things, and her foundation that she started, and it talks about her. So there's all kinds, but I mean, you could go in here, and I mean, you can see daily affirmations for today. Let me see what else I can find. 110 positive morning affirmations for an incredible day. I am feeling healthy and strong today. 50 self-affirmations to help you stay motivated every day. 200 daily positive affirmations for personal growth. Here's Oprah Daily, 40 positive affirmations to add to your daily rotation. Let's see what these are like on here, okay? Oh, she's got a Louise Hay one as number 1. I am in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Love that. Thich Nhat Hanh, who was the Buddhist monk that I've read before on here. These grounding words come from, okay, conscious breathing is my anchor. So to breathe in, to breathe out. Love that one. Okay. You are loved just for being who you are, just for existing. The chance to love and be loved exists no matter where you are. Oprah. Brene Brown, courage starts with showing, I know so many people that love Brene Brown, especially in recovery. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Make way for the unprecedented and watch your reality rearrange itself. Wow, that's super powerful. Open your heart and drink in this glorious day. And I think we should all do that. So this, I mean, you can find them anywhere online. You can print them off. You can make a scrapbook of them. You can make your own meditation book from ones that you like. You just go through there and print them off if you wanted to, or write them. You know, you didn't even have to print them off. You could just write them in your own scrapbook and make your own meditation book. I think that would be kind of a cool thing to do. Okay. And no, I'm probably not doing that anytime soon, so I guess I could. That would be a Peter Does Stuff video, wouldn't it? Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should make my own meditation book. Well, I've actually thought for several years, this has been like a goal of mine on my, like, either my sobriety birthday or my birthday, that starting that day, I would, every day on my computer, I would type, like, something that I learned that day, and then at the end of the year, like the next year, I would have 365 days of lessons that I had learned over that past year, and then I would have a meditation book to publish. I've actually thought about doing that, I mean, probably for 10 years now, and I just never do. Should I do that? I mean, I guess I wouldn't have to do it on my birthday. I could start it at any day, right? It wouldn't have to be January 1st. Or you could start it, I could start it on July 21st or July 22nd, you know? So I thought about doing that for a long time, you know, and just each day sharing like a lesson I've learned. Like, what's something that I've learned today? Well, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I think a lesson that I learned that I already knew but was reiterated was you can be kind to people even though you don't necessarily agree with their stance, you know, and that you can have open conversations with people. And you can say, I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with you, and let me share my experience. And you can have those open conversations, you know, and if they're not willing to let you do that, then maybe that's somebody that you don't want in your life. Fortunately, the person I was talking to allowed me to say, I don't agree with you. Can I share my stance? You know, and it was on something kind of serious, but it was interesting because after I shared my stance, they said to me, they said, I never thought of it that way, you know? And I was like, wow, you know, like that's kind of like a powerful statement. Like, one of the guests of Oprah years ago, you know, said something to that effect, like, I never thought of it that way. And so they said to me, you know, like, they didn't say it exactly like that, but they said something to that effect, you know, like, well, I never looked at it that way or something like that. I can't remember exactly how they said it today, but I was like, yeah, and I was like, and you said some things that made me think too, you know? So I think to be kind to somebody, we don't have to be nasty to somebody that has opposing points of view to us unless they're nasty with us. I just don't get into it with those people. There's no point, right? Like, you're fighting a losing battle, and I'm not going to get into it with somebody that's going to be like, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Okay, well, that's what you believe, and I'm not going to change your opinions about it. If you want to have a conversation with me about it, you know, that I believe that God is based in love, then we can have that conversation. But I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you're going to come at me with anger and hate. Like, no. So those are people that I don't even engage in my personal life. But, you know, like, if you're willing to have a conversation with me, we can be kind and compassionate to people that have different opinions from us, and maybe we can learn from them, and maybe they can learn from us. Maybe we can teach others. Maybe they can teach us, you know? I wish we had more open dialogues and conversations like that. We don't seem to have that as much, you know, anymore. So anyway, I want to read this comment that I got yesterday in my video, or maybe it was 2 days. It says 1 day ago. This person said, my husband of 15 years and I are both recovering addicts from basically everything, and we've been working and staying sober, and life's beautiful, but I find myself feeling guilty in a way, like I don't deserve peace in my life. How would you deal with it? So I actually think this is a really pertinent conversation to have and a really important question, and I appreciate you bringing it up. And not just about people that are in recovery, but people that are surviving from anything, you know? I think to some degree there's survivor's guilt. I know when I got sober and there were so many people behind me that I was, you know, acquainted with or friends with that ended up dying from overdoses and things like that, that I was like, why didn't they get it from me, you know? And I did feel somewhat of a survivor's guilt. Even though I was doing really hard work to stay sober, I still felt like, why me? Like, why was I the one that got sober and they didn't, and they're gone now, you know? Like, it was really hard for me. And even to this day, when I find out that somebody's passed that I know from addiction, I still kind of think that way. I think, like, why me? You know, it reminds me of like years ago when the year that Schindler's List won for Best Picture, there was a documentary, you know, about similar topics, and the woman that was a survivor of the concentration camps, they gave the Oscar to her because she was like the main person in the documentary, and she said, for the last 50 years, I've asked myself every single day, why me? I am no different. And I think that sometimes, you know, in regards to being sober, why me? Why did I make it and nobody else or other people that I knew didn't make it out? Because there's a lot of people that are sober, obviously. But why me and then other people died? Like, what makes me different? You know, just because I wanted it, just because I did the work. I think some of those people wanted it too, you know, but it was too powerful. I had a friend of mine whose child died from addiction, and I'll never forget them looking at me and saying the disease was too strong, the addiction was too strong, you know? So I think that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, and I know that people aren't going to necessarily understand this from a 12-step point of view. What I would say, like if this topic came up in a meeting, this is what I would share, okay? That if you're actually working, and I don't know if you're working a 12-step program, you said you're sober, but maybe you're saying sober other ways, I don't know. But that's the reason why I choose to work a 12-step program and I remain in a 12-step program, is because through sponsorship, if I would take this issue to my sponsor, and then my sponsor and I would work on it and do inventory over feeling guilty and why I do, and what's that based in, and things like that, right? And then those things that she and I couldn't work on, she'd say, you need to take this to your therapist. And my therapist and I would work on it and work through the guilt of why I feel guilty about my past actions, right? Which is what I think you're referring to. And why you don't deserve peace in your life, because back in the day, I was, you know, such a horrible person. I've had those feelings. I've had those same emotions, you know. I treated my dad horribly. I treated my mom horribly. I treated my stepmom horribly. I was horrible to friends, you know, on and on and on. So why do I deserve peace in my life? I believe that every person out there, unless you are born evil incarnate, deserves to have peace and love in your life. And if you are willing to do the work on it, then yes, you deserve to do it, to have that, especially if you're willing to clean up the wreckage of your past. And that for me is the importance of a 12-step program. It's not just like, I got sober, I deserve peace. It's not like I just got sober, I deserve forgiveness. It's not like I get sober and I just deserve to have all these great things in my life. No, you have to do the work. I've had to do the work. I've had to take a look at that painful, hard stuff of me hurting people. I've had to make amends to those people, you know? And to me, feeling guilt is a character defect that's standing in the way of me experiencing peace, love, and joy, you know, and freedom in my life. And it's obviously standing in the way of you as well, having this guilt. So for me, I would want to work through that character defect. And the way to do that is to take a look at that and do the opposite. And so you have to practice not feeling guilt and feel, you know, and being proud of yourself for what you've done, and you know, congratulate yourself on how hard you've worked until that starts to be your belief system. I also think that for me, and I can only speak to my experience, I don't know what your experience is, but with each person that I made amends to through the years, you know, since I got sober all the way to today, each person that I made amends to, you know, each amend that I went through and took responsibility and took accountability for the things that I had done was like, you know, it was freedom from my past. Each, you know, fear or resentment or conduct or anger that I looked at in my life through inventory, when I looked at it and I looked at my part in it and I took responsibility for that, was freedom from my past. So the natural gift to that, right, is not feeling guilty for those things because you've worked on them. You've done the work on them. I'm not somebody that's going to do work on things and really take a hard look at these things and make amends to people and then still blame myself for it. So I don't know if you've done the work on it, but I will say from myself and many people that I know, when you've done the tough work, the natural reward is peace and serenity, because it just kind of comes naturally, you know? It's like, when you sit down with somebody and you explain to them, I'm in a 12-step program and I've been working with my sponsor on how I wronged you. You don't say I'm sorry, you say how I've wronged you. And, you know, I've looked at specifically what I did and I need to take responsibility for those actions. And this is how we do it. And so, you know, and you pray on that. I prayed on all, you know, most of my, with a few exceptions, I prayed on almost all of my amends before and talked to my sponsor before it. And then you explain all that, and then you go through and you explain in the amends process how you've affected those people, and you take responsibility for each thing. And then when you're done, you say, Are there things that I'm leaving out? And you allow that person the opportunity to say, yeah, you forgot this, you did this, yeah, you did that. Or they say, no, you didn't leave anything out. Or they'll say, some people have looked at me and said, I totally forgot that you did that, you know? But thank you for bringing that up. And then what you say to that other person is, you don't tell them how you're gonna fix it. You don't say, well, I'm a changed person today. Which is why that comment irritates me so much when I cover that on my Peter Monn channel. You don't say, I'm a changed person today, without showing them how you've changed, okay? You don't do that, right? You explain how you've changed the person, you demonstrated that. An amends is like an amendment to who you were before and saying that that's not gonna happen again. And then you ask that person at the end, how can I make this right for you? And some people will say, you don't have to do anything. Other people will say, well, it would be really nice if you paid me back the $50 or the $100 or the $150 or $175 that you owe me. Or, you know, like I had one person say to me, don't ever talk to me again. I don't ever want to see you again. And that was easy for me to do, you know, especially since they lived in another country way half across the world, you know. But I had other people that were like, no, don't worry about it at all, you know. There's nothing that you need to do, you know. But you allow that person to tell you how you can fix it. That's closure to that situation. You walk away from that situation sighing a huge sigh of relief that, like, okay, well, to the best of my ability, I corrected that situation, made amends for it. And the other part to an amendment is that an amendment is a change. That's why it's really important that in an amends process, you don't just say, I'm sorry, okay? As most of us as addicts and alcoholics, our family and friends have heard us say, I'm sorry for years. Sorry means nothing. My dad used to say to me, and I've shared this in many videos, don't say I'm sorry to me, because sorry just means forget what I just did. You know, show through your actions that you're a changed person. That's what an amendment is. That's what amends means, okay? A change. And so what you're saying to that person is, I can promise you that after today, you will see that I'm a different person. You know, which is why I think it's important to demonstrate that going forward when you want to say to somebody, like, I've made amends, I'm a changed person today, and then you show that in your actions going forward. And if you've made amends, and you've done the best that you can to correct the damage of your past and work on the damage of your past, you've made amends to those people, and then you go forward and every day you continue to walk the walk, not just talk the talk, but walk the walk and show that you're a better person today than you were yesterday, and you continue to try to live a right life and not continue to harm people in the future and be a better person on a daily basis, and there is nothing for you to feel guilty about. That's why it's important for me to do the work. That's why I am so happy that I was introduced to a 12-step program. And I know that there's people that don't want to be in a 12-step program. I know that there's people that that's not their thing, and I get it, right? But for me, and I don't shame those people, I don't judge them, you do you, right? Like, but for me, like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, a person that's not in recovery, and my friend was asking me like what I thought about heroin addicts that say they're sober, but then they just smoke pot. And I said, I don't really care, I don't really have a stance on it. And they go, well, you don't think that they need to be in 12-step programs? And I said, well, I think that's a personal decision. You know, I can tell you this, that a person that's smoking pot is probably not going to die. And if they're smoking pot, and I'm not saying that this is great, okay, but it's not perfection, but it's a move in the right direction. They're smoking pot instead of heroin. Yes, I would rather have that. They're not going to die from an overdose, you know? Like, that scares me. I don't want people to die from addiction anymore, you know? So no, they're not working a recovery program the way that I am. Maybe that's not for them. Maybe the seed has been planted and someday they will. But maybe it'll never be for them. But thank God that they're not shooting dope anymore, you know? So I understand that working a 12-step program isn't for everybody. But also working a 12-step program is not the only way to work through these issues. You can have a therapist, you know? You can have a life coach or a recovery coach and talk to them about these issues. You know, a lot of people spiritually and religiously deal with these issues. A lot of people work in other kinds of programs to deal with these issues. But you can't just stop, and this is where for me, like, well, I guess I shouldn't say you, I should say me, based on my experience, strength, and hope. I couldn't just put the substance down and not work any further because the damage had already been done. And I had to clean up the wreckage of my past so that I could move on with peace and serenity in my heart and not feel a huge amount of guilt. And that's why I continue every single day to do that, you know? Because I want to live the best life possible. And I want that for you as well. And I think it was a fantastic question, so thank you for asking me. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.